is Erica, and my next crafter's top tip is how to make the rust technique with paints. Right, so to get started, I've got some chipboard here, and the first thing we do is we need a palette knife and the Deco Art Media texture sand paste. My pot's a bit battered now, it's had a few outings. If you can see in there, it's quite thick, and the more you mix it, the thinner it gets. That's technical term, thixotropic. It means the more you mix it, the thinner it gets. You don't really need to know that, it's just one of those things. Okay, so I'm just taking a little bit, and I'm taking my chipboard. This is a Tando chipboard of a cog, and I'm going to put the sand paste onto the chipboard. But if you can see, I'm not putting it all over. One of the things about rust technique is it's really nice if it's not uniform, it's kind of patchy. That's one of the tricks. Okay, right, put that away. Obviously I need to let that dry. I'm going to wipe my tools. Yeah, that needs to dry. So I've made one already. This is the backing for it. And what I've done is it's got the sand paste all the way around the outside, straight onto the, this is a media board from Tando again. These are great because they're nice and thick, and they're great for taking all kinds of paints and water. Right, so what I've done is I've allowed that to dry, and then I've just painted that area in a paint to almost give the effect of an enamel sign that's starting to rust on the edges. So I'll put that to one side to dry. The two colours that I need from Deco Art Media are Payne's Grey and Quinacridone Gold. These are the Deco Art Media fluid acrylics, and it's just these two colours. It's amazing how easy it is to create this rust technique. So the first colour I need down, I'll give it a little mix, is the Payne's Grey, and I like this watered down, so excuse my hands, I've got a little bit of water down there as well, so I've put some water in with the paint just to thin it down, and then I'm just gonna put it over where that rust is, and you can see it's patchy. So just where that rust, well, should I say sand, the sand texture, where that is, we're putting a patchy area. Okay, I've come back, I've dried this now, so it's all dry, and that's our first layer. To make it a little bit more patchy, I'm going to add some extra Payne's Grey just in places, and this will add to the authentic look of rust. So you can see I'm doing it much more patchily this time, and a little bit thicker with the colour in places, and let that one dry. Okay, that's dry now, so I'm now going to add Quinacridone Gold, if you can say it. It's quite a tricky name. I call it Quin Gold just to make it easier. So it's very concentrated colour, so we just want a little bit of it, so I'm watering it down quite a lot. Hope you can see that bit. and then this is really patchy, and you just puddle it on. That's all I can sort of equate it to, is just you're not really painting it, it's sort of puddling. And that's a new technical term. So there you can see. And again, this will be about layers, famous layers, where it's just a case of drying, seeing how it looks, and trying another layer. Oh, so we'll dry that again. So there we go, and I'm hoping you can see you're starting to get that sort of rust, that rust look to what is a piece of card. So I'm going to add some more patches of this, but my favourite tip is actually a paper artsy colour called Pumpkin Soup, and that lighter colour just lightens the rust up in places, because the best thing to do is actually look at real items of rust to get an idea about what it should look like, not what you think it should look like. So while I was looking, I saw some lighter patches, and the Pumpkin Soup is a perfect match. So there we put some lighter patches of this Pumpkin Soup in, and it will just add another layer of interest to our rust. And dry again. So there we go. Hopefully you can see that lovely rustiness to it. The other trick that I did with one of these boards is to have drips of rust, as if the water is coming down and it's taken the stain down with it. And that's simply, you just tip your brush on the edge and you just watch the drips go down. It just gives an added real grungy effect. So here's some examples that I've already made. This is the first one. Obviously there's a metallic background on this one, and these are the cogs. So with that paint technique, that becomes that. This one is very similar to the one I've just shown you. So you can see the drips, it really looks rusty and old. This one is on a small piece of work. So you can see how you can just make something really look aged. This one's a slightly larger, and it's got some grunge paste stenciling underneath it. You can see all the rusty texture of that. And then lastly, this one's a little bit more elaborate. The nuts and bolts are just done with the Payne's Grey and Quin Gold, so you don't actually have to add loads of texture to get that rusty look. So there we go, there's my top tip on how to create a rust effect.